Look, Louise, if you don't want to marry me, just tell me now.
I do.
On this public platform. We got fucking problems here.
I had a lot of people message me to say, where can they find Orion? Do you think
really
it's because my
open this.
parents are divorced? Have we ever spoken about
could well
divorce?
be linked.
I think I've just spat and dribbled down.
Just because you're talking about getting married, you're getting nervous. You've lost control of your mouth.
Welcome back, Risey.
Thank you.
Why am I saying welcome back to you? You've not gone
You look
anywhere.
like a little Smurf in that little outfit. It's quite cute.
I don't think that's who I was trying to channel.
Well, fair enough.
What? Who? Oh no, I was thinking of the dwarfs, the Snow White and the Seven
Which
Dwarfs.
dwarf would you be?
Ooh.
I already know which one I'm going to be.
Which one are you going to be?
Dopey.
The strong one. Yeah, you're dopey. You are quite dopey, though, to be fair. What are the other ones?
Bashful.
Sleepy, I'm quite bashful.
Yeah.
I get really red
You can
and I
be
get
bashful.
really coy. Yeah. I can't take
You
a
are quite
compliment.
bashful, aren't you?
In fact, that's a really good.
I just thought of a moment where you were bashful on the weekend when you went into the wrong tent. Do you remember?
Oh my God. I went into this lady's tent. We were clearing out our room to take everything, to pack up and put all of our stuff back in the car. And I just walked into someone else's tent and I started clearing up their room, their objects. And I picked up, actually, I can't even say this. I need to message Jack. I picked up her glasses. I didn't realise. I basically then freaked out. She was sunbathing on her terrace. And I went,
She was there.
she was
Oh
there,
my
Ryan.
gosh. So you're inside her dome packing up her stuff.
No, just on the outside terrace balcony bit. And I'm like looking, because there's an outdoor kitchen and bathroom. And I check myself out in the mirror. And then I see these reading glasses and I just assumed they were yours. And I just start like swiping things. And then I see her over there and she's got
Pure
sunglasses
panic.
on and she's reading a book and she's sunbathing. And I went, oh my God, sorry, I'm in the wrong room. I think I'm like sleepwalking.
Did she see you? Did she see you?
Yeah, she saw me.
Oh my God.
And then I had to run out and go into...
This is so much worse than I thought when I first thought.
Yeah, because when I told you the story, I was really anxious, worked up and freaking out because I basically then
Is that
looked
why
down.
you were in the room just like shoveling crisps into your mouth like, I've done something? I was like, where have you been? You're supposed to be getting the bags and in the car. You were like 10 minutes.
So then I went back into our room and I got really bashful.
Oh my
and then I
gosh.
looked, but then I realized that the glasses were reading glasses and you've got 20/20 vision and they were from Moscot, one of my favorite glasses brands. And
Not
then
cheap,
I
then.
went, Ryan, you need to go and explain that your partner's just sleptwalked
Slept walk?
or like day, is that a thing? Like day walked.
No, it's not a thing.
And that I accidentally stole some of her glasses.
Tell me you took them back to the room. You didn't take them back. Where are they?
I left them on the side of our
Oh,
room.
fine. Well,
So she'll get them back.
that's a lot worse than I first thought. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, it was a bit weird.
Yeah, well, you are bashful then. You are the bashful.
I was bashful.
What was that? What are they called again? Dwarfs.
7 Dwarfs.
Yeah.
Gosh, we had a wild weekend. I wanted to say a well done to us.
Yeah.
Only 3 years ago, I remember speaking to a therapist that I was working with, and a goal of mine was to be able to sit down and talk to you for 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes. And that was a year after we gave birth to our son. We still weren't talking for 5 minutes. And I had to actually write a list of questions to come up with as conversation starters. And now, here we are 3 years later.
Yeah.
And we talk really regularly. But also, not only that, we've had probably around 30 hours of public conversation together.
It's quite the turnaround.
Isn't that turnaround?
Yeah.
That to me just says that anything is possible.
Yeah, well done.
This actually is quite a restricting dress.
Really?
So I want to give you a high five, but I can't meet you halfway.
That is a turnaround.
Why do you think we've got so good at communicating?
Probably a lot of it's down to circumstance and maybe having self-awareness of changes that I needed to make. Yeah, I think we've touched on this before, but I think by default, I used to just sit on emotions and maybe can them up. And I think with the severity of the situation that we went through, your health situations and solo parenting and all that pressure, it just pushed me to a point where I just turned into a really ugly version of me. And then I started to understand if I talk more, I think it was a gradual process. Maybe it wasn't like super overnight, but I started to realize the more I talk to you and tell you where I'm at, the stronger we became. And things around us start to almost just crumble in a good way, dissipate, dissolve, disappear. So I think it's to do with that, yeah. But I also knew that I also just started to really view things slightly differently in terms of like, what is it that you needed from me?
I think a lot of women would like their partners to be better at communicating.
Yeah, 100%.
And actually, I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass.
Well, I'm here to blow smoke up yours, so let's go. Let's have some smoke up my chuff.
Ryan is partial to a compliment.
What do you mean?
You like a compliment?
Who doesn't like a compliment? Let's go.
Yes, so I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass, but I have had a lot of people message me to say, where can they find a Ryan?
Where can they find a Ryan?
Yeah, isn't that cute?
That is cute.
How does that make you feel?
There's more out there, I'm sure.
Are there?
No.
Are there lots of good guys out there?
I don't know. What do I say to this?
And what does a Ryan look for?
What does Ryan look for?
Yeah, what does a good guy look for?
Alignment in values, maybe. Good energy. I think good people are attracted to good energy, good people. And then good things happen. Good things happen to good people. I don't know. How
Bad
to
things
answer.
also happen to good people.
Yeah, but there's usually a reason for it. And you could say, for our situation and what happened to you, maybe this is the reason. This forum and platform.
That's a good point. Actually, over the weekend, I connected with a couple of people. We were working with UNICEF. One of the ladies that was working with that charity said that she had followed my story quite closely, and she was only 27 and she had stomach cancer the year before, which she'd overcome.
Right. Jeez.
And we immediately had a lot to talk about. And someone actually, when we were away in Fforest, one of the girls that was working there, she also very bravely came up to me and said that she'd read my book and she resonated a lot with my story. And she had had a lot of health complications the year before she started working at Fforest. You know, it connects you, it brings you together, and then you hopefully go on to do great things to help others.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it depends how you view the situation. If your glass is half empty, you'd probably be dragging yourself through continued pain and torture and looking at it as a negative. But you have turned it into a positive.
Well, thank you. But I very much viewed my world as half empty or less than that for quite a long time.
Yeah, but
it can take time.
Yeah, for sure, it can take time. Yeah, I'm not saying that it's like an immediate remedy or fix, but over time, you've turned it into something that's been really helpful for people. And by doing this together now, we're adding to that. So it's good, yeah. Thanks for the compliment. I have had some similar messages.
How much do you love that?
No, I don't. You think that I'm like doing cartwheels on my head. I'm not. I look at it and I'm like, that's very sweet. And I actually reply and say, that's really sweet. Thank you for your kind words. That's it. I don't then like puff up my chest and walk with extra zip.
Bravado.
No, it's just I can appreciate someone's taking the time to be nice. That's the important thing.
Yeah, that is true.
If they send me a message and be like, dude, your mullet looks great, I'll be like, thanks, dude. In the same way, just move on.
Let's talk a little bit about our trip to Fforest.
You've mentioned the word forest a few times. There will be people who'll be like,
what's Fforest?
What is Forest? With 2 Fs. Forest is in West Wales, not far from Cardigan. And it's very, very far from where we're sat right now. It took us 6.5, 7 hours? 7 hours.
This is somewhere that I would highly recommend to visit. We have a bit of a connection with Wales because one of our business partners is one of the most patriotic people in the world, and he is Welsh. And we have visited it quite a few times. But actually, one of your best friends from school, this guy called Jack, who is a bit of a hunk, he's really hot. Can I say that? Oh my God, you might listen.
Say it. He is.
You were in the same year at school, which was in Wales.
Yes, South Wales.
In South Wales, Brecon.
Yep.
And his parents have created the most magical place I have ever stayed in my life.
You sticking with that? That's a
I
good
am.
one. Great.
It's unlike anything I've experienced before. It is whimsical. It is beautiful. It is natural. It is authentic. It's like an authentic version of Soho Farmhouse. It's got so much more character. Actually, there
goes my membership.
The couple, no. We love Soho House, but So yeah, your good friend Jack, his parents set it up 20 odd years ago. And they've slowly over time built this amazing, what would you even call it? Is it a hotel?
It's hard to describe.
It's hard to describe.
I don't think it's a hotel as such, but I got the feeling from conversations over the weekend that maybe they're looking to go more that way. As in maybe move a little bit away from the rustic glamping and offer something a bit more luxe.
Oh, well, I'd say it's very luxurious.
It is very luxurious.
They actually, obviously, we talk quite a lot about Japan on the podcast because Ryan is obsessed with Japan and the Japanese way of life, way of thinking. Love Japanese food. Anyway, they have actually spent a bunch of time in Japan, and so there's quite a strong Japanese influence there. So they have all of these baths that are built into the ground, so you step down into them instead of stepping up
onsen baths
onto the bath. And that feels very unique. It feels...
It's not just the bath, though. They've taken inspiration across the whole aesthetic and view of that whole brand. With the weathered woods.
Yeah.
The sort of like...
They were saying in Japan that they like this moss that like grows, I think maybe even in the baths, and that it's slippery. And obviously like we would see that and think that's disgusting, that's really dirty. But actually the feel of it is so lovely against your skin that it's something that they culture.
It's
like they keep it there.
It is very naturally beautiful forest. It's hard to describe, but we would both strongly recommend that you visit.
So every time I go there, I think that that is one of the places that it inspires me to get married. It would be the perfect setting for a wedding. The only problem is that it rains a lot in Wales, and that would be really shit if people drove, because most of our friends live in London, don't they?
Yeah.
I think I've just spat and dribbled down my chin.
It's because you're talking about getting married, you're getting nervous. You've lost control of your mouth.
Most of my phobia of my commitment phobias are coming out. What was I saying? It'd be really crap if people came and traveled 7 hours to get somewhere where you could realistically go to like Morocco or Dubai or somewhere exotic with great weather, and then you end up in Wales for kind of a 2 or 3 day wedding weekend and it rains. Do you think you could get your money back? I guess because we know them quite well, maybe we'd get a discount.
Some friends of mine, well, actually more a friend of a friend got married there a few weekends ago. The guy,
really?
the guys from Run Limited in town.
That's such a weird coincidence.
I know.
And I now know a few people that have got married there, but it's like this hidden gem.
Yeah, it's beautiful, yeah. Anyway, should we move on from Fforest?
Well, let's talk about the wedding a little bit. How do you feel about, where are you at now with getting married?
Well, I'll be honest with you. After a recent conversation with our accountant and discovering this whole death tax and potential vulnerability for Leo and what he can inherit as assets and what he owes money on, bloody hell, it's pretty scary.
Do we need to get married soon?
I think, do you know what? I think we need to hop on a train to somewhere and get married quick.
Sorry, where are we hopping on a train to?
Somewhere where it's quick and easy and cheap. Forget the frills.
What?
Let's get this thing done.
But surely that's adding the expense if we have to get on a train.
This death tax thing, though, and that
it means we need to register and tent again, though, because you have to do that the year that you're going to get married.
Go back to that same office in wherever it was.
In Hammersmith.
We missed our 12-minute window. We're back again.
Yeah, I was dissociated last time, so... Well, I think we should maybe speak to the team at Fforest about reserving a date for next year, perhaps.
Whoa. That was a big moment we just had.
Why are you dribbling now?
No, I'm not.
You just did a Sam Thompson maneuver. You just went like this. Like, your whole body just shook.
No,
can you see my underwear on
this?
Yes,
I can. And it's quite clever how you coordinated the same colour. I'm like...
Oh, wait. Am I wearing blue pants?
The exact same blue.
Sorry, how have you not told me that I'm flashing
I didn't really want to
pants?
talk about your knickers on the... but we can.
Well, does that mean that the world can see my knickers? Are we trying to get some new views?
Swivel that way, if that's what's happening. Moved on from wiki feet.
Maybe that's why you're squirming in your seat.
No, it's the ferrets in the chair. I've got to change these chairs, man.
Well, we had a bit of a situation with that duck.
It wasn't a duck. Oh, I thought... And the owl?
And the owl, oh my God, the duck and the owl. It's like the owl and the
Blimey.
pussycat.
Cool.
I'm just going to first of all say there's a chance we might have bird flu right now after our experience in Wales this weekend. And it was definitely an insight into how we might have to integrate into country life when we finally put an offer in somewhere that accepts a
You
country
took
life.
shape of your dad in that moment because you were like, you didn't know. Well, your face, you were so surprised at what was happening there. You were like, this is unhygienic as it gets.
Okay, well, why don't you explain what happened?
Well, we came down from our onsen dome in the woods to the breakfast place, and this child walked towards us, like with full commentary, holding a dead owl.
Like a massive...
Saying like, and he was like opening it at the sort of wingspan and offering to like, do you want to cuddle it and stroke it? I was like,
I looked at this owl and I was like, that's like a precious, that's like a sacred bird. Only the week before, my grandfather had been talking to me about, do you remember that like that tawny owl, that white owl?
falcon.
No,
No, it was a falcon.
No, it wasn't.
Yes,
it was an owl box. You get boxes.
And a falcon.
This is how led we've become. We speak about birds all the time. You can get boxes
Mate,
with different size holes
you
in.
literally said the other day in the garden, you were like, look at the size of that wood pigeon. And you were like talking about him for a good 5 minutes.
But listen, did you know that you can get a box with different size hole, and the bird will literally know that that hole is for it to fit through and then nest
I was
in.
at the same lunch with the microwave chicken and all that stuff at your grandparents'. I was part of that same conversation.
My grandparents, 87 and 85, and they can't cook anymore. What they do for themselves. But yeah, we did end up having some like practically microwaved salad. It was interesting. Anyway, yeah, so it was a bit alarming because on this weekend we had this 3-year-old come up to us with this dead owl, and I just didn't even know where to look. I was like, where are your parents? Because this is unacceptable.
No. His dad was there being like, basically, should we put it in the freezer with the other one that we've got at home? And we were like, what the hell's happening right now?
Yeah, and then he was like, it's better than your kids jumping on a Game Boy. And I was like, actually, fair play. But also, does anyone even use Game Boys anymore?
You were more jarred by that than I was. I was
no,
like,
you were actually quite. At least you allowed me to be jarred, though.
Yeah.
You might have been. Ryan sometimes likes to like pretend that he's all like relaxed and hippie-ish and just like the cool parent, like nothing phases you.
Me?
Yes, you. And so then you'll get like, if I'm quite the opposite.
You're very much
I could see in your eyes that you were not down with the owl.
No, I wasn't, because there was a bit of a blood splatter on the head, and I was like, "This is a bit gnarly for me."
And also, you literally
before breakfast,
and because I'm so polite, I let our son then stroke this dead owl and then dive straight into some breakfast where we're like cracking eggs open with our bare hands.
Well, you might want to just insert that you blew the whistle on that like after a minute and took him away to sterilise him.
Fine. Yeah.
Anyway, moments before that, I rescued a duckling, so which made you quite happy.
Well, yeah, it did actually. I found you very attractive in that moment. Yeah, but what we probably didn't take into consideration is the fact that, okay, so we were driving out of Forest because we love Forest, but we also like a kebab from the local town.
It was no kebab.
It was. And we also wanted to go to find the nearest Tesco megastore to get some supplies. And we saw this like little duckling walking through the car park on its own, and this magpie was about to eat it. It was really traumatic. Leo sat in the back.
Little chick being chased around by a magpie. I was like, I can't have this.
Yeah, so we stopped, and then you got out, and then you basically went over, and I was really surprised because you're not that much of an animal person. You're no David Attenborough. And you came back to the car with a tiny little duckling. And then we were like, cool, what the hell do we do now? So you called your poor friend who's trying to host this cycling event, and he had to come down, leave the party that he was hosting, and you basically lumped him with the duckling. And then we got a microphone app open on our phone, his phone, and you can basically play the duckling's voice through this microphone app, and it plays it loudly, and then the mother duck will hopefully come and hear the sound of its little baby and come and rescue it. Because I'm going to be honest, if the child is not reunited with its mother, it's not looking pretty. So just really quickly, you mentioned your dad telling you about the circle of life when your hamster Rocky died.
Yeah.
What did that conversation look like?
Sat me on the staircase outside my bedroom and explained to me that it was the circle of life. I think he was basically just regurgitating The Lion King, the movie,
Okay.
when
safe
Mufasa
bet.
obviously died.
Did you do a burial for him?
Yeah,
You did?
yeah,
Nice.
in the garden. I can remember the moment, but I can't actually remember the exchange of. Well, I don't think I was exchanging words. I was just looking at him like, "What the hell's happened?" But he did a pretty sweet job at that time.
That's good.
He handled it very sensitively.
Nice. Well, we need to take cues from that.
Don't
when it comes to our own
worry,
parenting.
I'm so capable and ready to handle this.
Well, we won't have to have that conversation anytime soon.
What about? No.
No, let's not even say it.
No, let's not even say it.
About 20 minutes ago, we mentioned the word wedding, and then
Yeah, and you started to drool.
we've basically gone off on a tangent talking about dead birds. Yeah. That's how much we haven't wanted to talk about it. Why do we struggle to go there?
I just reflect what you give me, Louise, as always. Okay.
Okay, so this is really interesting because Ryan has this whole thing, right, where his way of communicating, your armor is to listen, respond. I'll go, hey, I'd quite like to take a bit of a back seat with this conversation, just because I do a lot of the talking.
Who, you or me?
Me.
Yes.
I do so much of the talking.
I wish you would say it like this, but carry on the story.
So sometimes I'll say, oh, can you maybe do a bit more of the talking? But you like to...
Sorry, are we going off topic again?
No, I just want to unpick this because I've wanted to actually figure this out for a while. Because I need to be better at listening, I think. I know I need to be better at listening. So can I be the listener and the responder? And can you sometimes be the initiator?
Can I just tell you this, though? Like, I will say something when I feel like I've got something to say. I'm not just going to waffle my way through conversations. So if I feel strongly about a wedding plan, which I don't, by the way, and I've said that before, mate, I'll throw some ideas at you. But if you're saying, like, loosely, I think we should pick a date for Forest and speak to the team and book it in, wonderful. Let's go.
Okay, well, interestingly, the owners of Forest, your friend Jack's parents, are not married and they're still together however many years later.
Right, so this is you taking backward steps again. You're like, actually.
No, but there's something interesting about that.
Why would you mention that? Look, Louise, if you don't want to marry me, just tell me now.
I do.
On this public platform.
I know that for you, you said to me that...
You can't even look at me. You literally can't even look at me. This is hilarious. I'm glad we've got 3 cameras on you right now. I hope they go tight.
Let's touch.
Oh my God.
No, hang on. You said to me that you would, if you died and we weren't married, that you would have lived an unfulfilled life. I can't have that happen. I don't want you to feel unfulfilled. At the same time, what I'm not going to allow to happen is for societal pressures to creep into our plans.
Well, don't worry, because we've been engaged 6 years, so we're clearly not letting that influence us.
And actually, anytime your mum will slyly ask.
Oh, my mum is like...
I shut that conversation. I'm the politest person in the world, except when I'm asking about weddings. And then I shut that shit down quick.
Mate, you've got issues around this. We need to
Do you
really
think it's because my
this.
parents are divorced? Have we ever spoken about divorce?
Could well be linked. In fact, I would hedge my bets to say that it is linked.
So my parents got divorced when I was 11.
Yeah, that must have been rough. Well, you tell us. Was it rough?
What I would say is that I think that my parents were incredibly conscientious about mine and my brother's feelings and our emotional welfare, because they decided to get divorced when I turned 11. And that same summer that they told us, we went on our... It's actually... I've not really thought about this for a while, but basically...
Get the Kleenex. Someone.
No, I'm not going to cry. I was fine with it. So basically, my parents told us that they were going to get a divorce. One morning, they called us into their bedroom. We sat on their little chaise longue at the end of the bed, and I thought we were getting in trouble because I'd taken a chocolate bar from the fridge. And they then said that they were going to break up. My brother ran away from the house, so it affected him more. I think I actually handled it quite well. And then we went on our final summer holiday together as a family, and we went to Egypt, and I was starting a new school that September. And that was the best thing that they could have ever done for me, because it meant I didn't have to go back to an old setting with friends who had known my family set up as it was before. I got a fresh start. And I was away from what was going on at home anyway. So because I went to boarding school, I didn't really have to like witness the breakdown.
Was that coincidental or was that timed?
I think it might have been timed. I should ask them about it. In fact, when we get my dad on to interview this crazy man who we love dearly on the podcast, maybe we should ask a little bit about the divorce. We could ask both of my parents.
You've lost faith in the system. That's what it's saying to me.
Well, I didn't have the setup that you did. Your parents have been married for how many years? They ended up
hundreds of
marrying their first ever boyfriend and girlfriend. Isn't that quite nuts? I don't want to state the obvious here, but like they might not.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't know the time.
And so maybe that's why you're a bit more relaxed about the whole wedding thing. My parents got married at the Chelsea registry office. My mum wore a Chanel suit, and they went, so no big bridal gown, and they then went to the Ritz for a big lunch afterwards.
This sounds about right.
And then went
by limousine.
No,
with
caviar, tacky,
caviar and
caviar.
I don't fucking know.
Come on, Ryan.
What was it that you used to have on? You used to have it after school every day, didn't you?
Hang on, have you actually never tried caviar before? I took it on our camping trip. I was like, I need to level this shit up.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then my parents decided to go on a year travelling around the world.
No, I'm sorry. I can't keep... Are we going to get married at Forest or not? I can't keep going around in circles.
Would you be happy to get married at Forest?
Very happy.
Okay, well, what parts are cool then? They've got their own pub on site.
No,
which is
it's
beautiful.
all cool. It's all perfectly set up for a wedding.
They've got perfect
Would you like to
TV.
get married, Louise, at Forest? Zoom in on Louise's face. You can't even say it. You literally can't even say it. We got fucking problems here.
Oh, gosh.
Shall I ask you again? Would you like to get married at Forest?
What if it rains?
Oh, hang on. All right, let me remove one word from this question. Would you like to get married? Oh my God.
No, I actually really love you. I do. I just feel like things are so good as they are.
You opened this conversation of... Pretty sure you said...
We need to get married, so we have to make it happen. Fuck's sake. Okay, I would actually love to do a wedding at Forest.
Say that again.
I'd love to do a wedding at Forest.
Listen, I don't feel that you have to do it at Forest because of my connections there with Jack and
No,
everything.
but I love that connection. And I think it would be really cool and really fun and very relaxed and very beautiful. Yeah, for me, still like the church bit is the important bit, like singing in church. I just don't want to organise it all on my own.
I don't know why you keep saying this. You do a lot, but you don't do it all by yourself. This is a partnership, just to remind you.
Okay, let's divvy up then the jobs.
Nope. I'm aware of what I want to do.
But this is where it's really hard actually being in a relationship with you, because you like the idea of something happening that is beautiful and wonderful, but you don't necessarily actually do the work to make it happen. So like say with this property project, I have booked in. I basically had to force you to come on some viewings this Friday because you're backpedaling and you're like, nah. Oh, I don't want to look at anything if it's not worth looking at. Like you have to see.
Thank you. I'm glad you said
lots
that.
of things.
I'm glad you said that. You've just basically won my argument for me.
Which is?
You have to be very refined in the search. You have to be like, okay, is it worth my time in general, but also time in the car, petrol, diesel, whatever it is.
Shut up, petrol.
What do you mean? It's a 4-hour round trip.
Okay.
That, by the way, you just treat the car as your mobile office. I'm the one that's driving like a fucking lapdog. So let me give you another example. Why would you take me to a school that's across in Belgravia when you know that the traffic is going to be absolutely obscene? Why would I go and view a school there knowing that? I got to that school and I was like, I already know the answer. What am I doing here?
Okay, because this is the difference in our personalities. I like to see lots of things and then make an informed decision. I like to analyze the market. So when it comes to the property thing, I think it's important to see some other things that might not be the one, but they're contenders in this in an area, because how can you make a decision unless you've seen lots of stuff? Because you need to learn from the experience. Like I said, when we went on that school tour, which you were fuming about again, you were like, total waste of time. Oh,
which you agreed with.
But it's not a waste of time, because what we're doing is Leo is 50% of who we are and our life now. And so we're making an informed decision.
You keep saying he's 50%. He's actually more than 50% of our lives. He's probably 100%.
He's 100%, but he's 50% of each of us. But we also have lives independently of Leo. We can't deny that. But he requires like a lot of thought. And so I think it's only fair to him to look at all of the options out there and then to go, okay, well, we can rule out things, because he's not necessarily.
It's just not working smart. I could go on and on and on with this discussion. It's not working smart. And that actually is a reflection of you. You work very hard, but not very smart. It's a time wasting exercise. By the way, who takes Leo to school and collects him?
Well, hang on. What? So we don't need to get all dirty.
No, because
here.
You're trying to be like, oh, why don't you just like apply yourself and be a part of the process and actually do the work? Mate, I am very, very capable of getting involved on these projects. But it has to be like a smart move. Contending with traffic to get to fucking Belgravia every day, twice a day, is lunacy. So why would I even why would I even bother going there?
Because if the school is so
it's not, though.
Amazing, then it's a sacrifice that we'd be willing to take. I used to actually travel.
You had a
20
minibus.
minutes. What do you mean I had a minibus? My dad actually had a van, a lorry.
Okay, well, you went to school about 85 years ago because you're that old now. Things have changed. The King's Road now is like the M6.
Well, that's actually true, because I did ask my mum about the commute, and I was like, how did you used to drive like that far every morning? And she just said there weren't the same amount of cars on the road.
Yeah, well, there you go, yeah.
Like, I have survived 35 years on this earth, and so I think if I would like to see 20 properties before I decide to part ways with some cash.
You can stay with your approach, but you need to understand my approach. Because at the moment you're describing it as like a lack of desire to be involved or can't be asked, which is actually annoying. So let's address this right now. You have a different approach to all things in life, which is fine. I don't necessarily agree with it. It's fine. It's working in some ways, not in others. I have a very different approach as well. You need to appreciate that.
Yeah, fine. No, I do. But it's hard then when I know with this project that you need to have my approach.
I started this project by myself, going to Devon and Wiltshire by myself, roped in my mum, looked at about 7 or 8 houses.
No, you didn't even go in 3 of them. You just turned around.
Exactly. That proves my point, because I knew it was wasting my time,
yeah, but
and
also,
everyone else's.
How many times are you going to drop in this, I started this whole thing?
Well, I'll say it as many times as you say, oh, I'm paying someone to do our search, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that.
No, I just think if we want something to happen, we need to put in the time every single week. It's the compound effect, isn't it?
You've got to contribute.
We need to contribute 5 hours a week to the property project.
What the fuck is that? There's no metrics to be like, oh, I'm going to do my sign-in sheet. There's my hour today.
You have to, otherwise it's not going to happen.
Oh my god.
No, it won't happen.
Yes, it will happen.
We're already how many months? 3 months in.
Would you like me to explain why we still hasn't happened?
Well, because we changed the metrics
and locations and everything else. Yes, we've moved the goalpost about 3 times.
Yeah, and we've learned that by allocating hours of time, 5 hours of time a week.
We've learned that because
I've
asked the right questions to the accountant, who's been like, "You might want to reconsider this," because you're just like, "Yeah, let's go."
Anyway, wedding. What jobs are you doing? Or you don't want to talk about it?
No, I can. What jobs am I doing at the wedding?
Not at the wedding.
What?
Not at the wedding, hopefully. Not
for the wedding.
Working in
I'll
the
handle
wedding.
the music.
Okay, good.
I'll handle the lighting and the fires and the entertainment. I'll handle the sweet trucks and donut walls. I'll handle the dress code for the men and the cigar platter and the whiskey options.
Cigar platter.
You can handle your stuff.
Okay.
Which is?
Food F&B.
She's the F&B manager. Thing is, you actually will want to manage that as well. This is the thing. Mate, if you do something, you literally want to be at the front of it every time. It's like, just let someone do their job. Let this builder build this house. Nope, I'm going to research everything.
But that's the issue, and I think that's why I'm not sure I'm ready for this monument of project, because I know that I'm like, it's just going to have to be done so like righter than right. And that is going to be immensely time consuming.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, all the conversations we've had, all the therapies you've had, and everyone says the same thing. It's like, perfection doesn't exist. This all or nothing principle doesn't really work. It's not sustainable. You still can't let it go. You're trying to do, you literally just said it's got to be righter than right. What the fuck does that mean? There is no perfect wedding.
I'm just being silly.
No, you're not. You're actually speaking truth. Do you know, I saw a couple on Instagram the other day.
You're making me twitch so much.
Yeah, because I'm hitting you deep. There was a couple on Instagram who went skiing, just the two of them, and like they took a mate who got the qualification to do the service, and they walked up to the mountain, did it, and skied down and have a great time. They went to like ski après afterwards. Done. Is that righter than right? Is that perfect?
No, I'm just being silly. I just know that it's going to be like a big old thing to get stuck into. Probably because I know that I'm going to have to scoop up most of the responsibility.
No, you won't. Do you know where most of the business comes from at Fforest? Weddings. They have a whole team that handle weddings. Everything from food and beverage to music to lighting to fires to entertainment to trucks to everything.
Disco balls.
All I'd have to do is call Jack now. I could do it now actually on this fucking camera if you'd like. I could call Jack and be like, dude, can we slot in a wedding next September 2026? Sweet, leave it with me. That's literally as far as it could go if you wanted it to do it like that, and you just hand it over. You know,
oh God, you're actually right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're right, we could just call now.
No, but I don't understand this approach at all, and it's...
Well, let's discuss.
What are we doing?
Okay, let's discuss privately. Let's buy ourselves a bit more time. No,
oh my God.
No, I'm kidding. Let's actually progress then. Why don't we send an email?
Give me my phone. Give me my phone.
We're not calling him now.
I'm going to call Jack right now.
Fuck off.
I'm going to do it. Let's see how big your balls are.
What do you mean how big my balls are?
You said at the start of this episode, should we get married at Forest? So let me call Jack and be like, is there
No,
space?
just send him a voice note, because I don't want to, it's like going to be awkward and I've already got anxiety.
Right. Hi, mate. Hope you're good. Just wanted to say a few things. First of all, thank you for a wonderful weekend. We had a really lovely time, and more special memories were made. And then the second thing is, did that baby duck survive? Third thing is, Louise would very much like to speak to you about a potential wedding next year. I'm sat opposite her right now, and she's either about to laugh or cry or pass out. But she's the one that said it, so I'm basically moving this whole thing forward because she thinks that I don't do anything in this world. And I'm going to move this thing forward. So I'm thinking September 2026, we get married, and you can be the umpire. Or what are they called? what are they called?
I was going to say adjudicator. No, that's a master of ceremonies.
The person who says, do you mean
you're ordained. No, the priest.
What's it called? The priest. You can be the priest.
You can be...
I think there's a qualification you can get to get your priest certificate, so let's do that. Yeah, chat to you soon, mate. Bye. See, this is it. This is it. You see that, Holly? I hate it I don't like it when you're like, you don't do anything. I mean, I'm ready to pull the trigger on things anytime. Anytime. Look at you. Oh my God.
I'm so excited because I'm going to give you... No, okay. No, hang on. But when I send you a text saying, please, can you do this? Please, can you respond to this? You are so selective with what you actually do. I remember when I said, oh, can I get your wing size? You literally responded. You were out of your seat, into the drawer, finding a ring measurer, and literally got it on your finger and you went, I'm okay. Because the gift was involved. Well, whereas, please, could you reply to this email? Or like, can you do dinner on Thursday night?
Sorry.
No response.
I've driven everything in your medical world for the past 3 or 4 weeks. You've got more progress than you've had in a long time. The ring story, I told you at the time.
Okay.
Huh? Sorry?
Well, I just need to be clear because in this podcast, it's feeling a little one-sided.
Right.
Okay, it's feeling a little
Wafflemeister.
like Ryan is the hero and Louise is a pain in the arse, and I don't feel like that's very fair.
You're just being you. I'm being me. So say la vie.
No, because whenever I try and criticize you for anything, we know that you can't handle it. So
No,
it's
but
got to be like the Ryan
I can
Libby
handle
show.
it, but I'm
the
giving.
Holy Grail Ryan.
If you think I'm the Holy Grail, cool. I'm just giving you context. The ring thing, I was sat where Holly was and I was in a flow of productive work and I was like, cool, I'll just do it now.
Oh my God, I've got a massive bit of dandruff in my hair. Rosie, you should have bloody told me.
I haven't seen any dandruff. I still can't see it.
You need to be on knicker patrol, bra patrol, dandruff patrol. What are the things?
I like dandruff patrol, knicker patrol, bra patrol,
And?
eyeliner patrol.
Yes.
What's that one? Oh, mascara run.
Like the panda eyes that I get underneath my eye.
All right.
Maybe lipstick control on the teeth as well.
All right. Okay. Fucking hell. So I got to check all that before I even open my mouth.
No, just whenever we're talking throughout the whole podcast, if you see any of those things change, you need to let me know.
All right. Well, can you be on chin patrol over here then?
Oh, I need chin patrol as well.
Shall I read you a listener's message?
Let's listen to a listener's message.
Yeah, do you want it?
Yeah.
She said, my partner never compliments me. My partner and I have been together for 9 years and we have a 6-year-old daughter together. Over the past couple of years, he has started to say things like, you don't love me, and he's been making comments about my body. Whilst he says it's a joke, they don't feel like jokes to me. He never pays me any compliments, and in general, he is always a bit negative. I have asked him to stop the comments and have told him how they make me feel, but he doesn't seem to listen. How can I make him understand how this makes me feel? Question mark.
Yikes.
Yeah.
What's he's like joking, saying mean things?
Yeah.
That's a few different things. So if he's saying to her, you don't love me, that's actually a cry out for attention. It's I actually want you to show me that you love me and can you give me some compliments? That's what I read from that. Like whenever I've pushed and said those sorts of things in relationships in the past and gone like, oh, you don't love me, or oh, it's over, or you're kind of like threatening and like questioning to see what the boundary is and to like see where the other person sits in the relationship. Like what you actually want to do is sit down and go like, do you love me? Not say, you don't love me, question mark, question mark.
Yeah. I think when you make snide comments and maybe reflex comments all the time, it comes off as slightly resentful and coming from a place of
Insecurity
perhaps, yeah, but also there's something left unresolved in that relationship. And I mean, I feel like with most of these submissions, to be fair, like I always come back to just have the conversation, but that really is the antidote to this. That's how you that's how you nullify all these snipes and nuances and misinterpreted things. If you just have that conversation where you want to ask questions like, do you love me? Are we good?
Yeah.
Is there something I can do to, I don't know, make you happier? I mean,
It's hard, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
if
it's
you
weird,
started like
obviously.
picking apart my body, like your confidence is then dropped. So then you don't feel like you're in a position to go. It's easy to have a tricky conversation when you feel confident. So if you were chipping away at my confidence, which this doesn't happen, but just like hypothetically, I'd then be like, oh, I'm not in a good headspace to then go, actually, Risey, do you mind, like when you're saying things about my body, it's affecting how I feel about myself and I'm finding it quite hurtful and I don't think it's a good thing for like this relationship. Let's talk. But you're not going to be in a position really to want to have that convo if you feel crap about yourself, are you?
No.
So it's a hard one, really. Do you know what's odd? I don't know why this is making me think about this, but when we were at school, we used to do this thing where we would say like a kind of insult, but like kind of a true insult. And then we would say like joke afterwards. Or we used to weirdly say like sausage. I don't know why. It was like, I think we even did it when we were in Manchester. We'd be like sausage.
Well, after you
and
say
it'd be like
something.
sausage. So you'd be like, oh, nice shirt, mate. Sausage. Or like,
Oh, right.
and it was, but sometimes it would go too far. And I was like, oh, because if it was something that was actually real, and like hurtful, but then you'd be like, joke.
So like a
like
free pass to say something
it's a free
hurtful.
pass, yeah.
I guess my view on this is that people tend to project like whatever's inside of them. So if they are spilling out and exuding good energy, it's because they're in a place of contentment. Is that the word?
Yeah.
And they're quite happy.
Yeah.
And that's the energy you want to be around. And I think on the flip side of that, if people are just spilling out negativity and making you feel, not great in their company, it's a reflection of where they're at.
Yeah.
So he's probably carrying some issues on a personal level with his own insecurities, but also there's some unresolved conversations that they need to have.
I'd agree with that. I mean, we went through a phase, I doubt we were giving each other compliments when we were in a bad spot. No way. Like the juvenile thing would be to be like,
Return it.
Return it. And that's like the childish go-to, isn't it? So I think instead, maybe you just go the other way. There's never any harm in like a little bit of distance and then just really prioritizing yourself, working on yourself, giving yourself those compliments and that self-love and self-talk that you need. And then that will kind of become like your shield, right? Work on building yourself up and don't rely on it from one person. I think also you could just say, look, I don't think that
it's the right example
it's
for
the
our
right
6-year-old
example.
daughter.
Yeah, we're not setting the right example talking about like body image in front of our child. And if you can't get on board with that, then send him to the podcast.
Send him to the podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, get him in.
I think that's probably the really helpful part of that, is to like reframe it with, this is not a good example for our daughter to see this behaviour.
That might make him even more annoyed. But
And if that doesn't work, you can always disarm him and just be like, what are you trying to achieve by making me feel shit? Because that would be quite a disarming question.
Well, Ryan, it's been nice chatting.
Cheers, bashful.
I think we're getting married. See you next week.
I'll let you know when Jack comes back to me. Oi, oi.
Oi, oi.